This is the first of two videos for chemistry in which we'll consider states of matter. There are several states of matter. We're going to consider three of them: solids, liquids, and gases. The first thing we want to consider is how far apart the particles are in each of these three different states of matter. In solids, particles are very close together. In liquids, the particles are still touching in a certain sense, but now they're not held in place quite as tightly and they can move around. This is the reason, for example, that in a solid you cannot pour the solid out of a container, whereas liquids can be poured out of the container. Finally, in gases, the molecules are now very far apart, especially compared to liquids and solids. As a side note, moving the molecules far apart from each other in a gas requires a significant amount of energy. Let's consider the forces now that these particles can exert on each other. In a solid, particles exert significant forces on each other. You can think of them as being locked in place by springs so that they can jiggle around up and down or right and left or even front and back, but they can't move from this average position. You can think of these solids as people in a marching band. In liquids, the particles have more energy, and so they aren't locked in place. It's very much like a mosh pit where it's much more chaotic, and any given particle can slide around relative to the other particles around it. They may exert temporary forces on each other in the same way that somebody can bump into you in a mosh pit, but a moment later they're moving another direction, and so are you. Finally, gases. Gases are very much like having a whole bunch of sugared up kindergartners running around blindfolded in the gymnasium. They're moving very, very fast, they're very far apart from each other, and aside from the occasional collision, they don't exert any forces on each other at all.